So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. An extremely dejected one that just feels mentally tired. Genuinely, just like angry is one thing, and I certainly am. I'm more angry at the fact that West Ham were absolutely useless today. They're like West Ham. Everything we said in the build up to the game, nothing of it came true from a West Ham point of view. They were disjointed. They didn't look like they knew what they were doing in the first half. We owned the ball, and then they get their winner through a absolute horrible deflection from Konza. They didn't deserve to win that game. We didn't deserve to win that game. I can't, like, Ezra Konza is really pissing me off. Things like that, and I'm not going to be coming on here and screaming and going fire and brimstone like the last time. I just don't have the I don't have it. Don't have the mental capacity to be able to do it tonight, to be honest with you. Because how many times can Aston Villa Football Club, how many times over my 31 years of supporting Aston Villa, how many times can I see us be so fragile? How many times can I see us be so aimless? Aimless is the word I would use for a good portion of that second half specifically. I will get your comments in a moment, but I do apologize. Look, I'm not going to just sit here and scream into the. I didn't think the manager had a good performance today. Before anyone, how did I mute myself there? Don't know how that happened. Can you guys hear me again? I think you guys can. Yeah, you should have it again. But I don't want to just sit here and start roaring Gerrard out and stuff like that, because there's more nuance to it like that. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if I start roaring it. It doesn't really matter. But what matters is he made one change today whereby he took off Douglas Luiz and we completely fell to pieces afterwards. Like, we spoke in the game beforehand whereby we wanted him to affect the game. We wanted him to be able to make in-game changes and tweaks and stuff like that would affect the game. And he did, except it affected it in the wrong way, I think. I thought Douglas Luiz was having a fine game. I'd love to know why he was taken off. I'd love to know why the decision was to bring on Jacob Ramsey. Not that Jacob Ramsey was the fault for the goal or anything like that, but we had a nice low block with Douglas Luiz there. And West Ham were getting back into the game more and more and more. And they just brought on Mikel Antonio. And then we bring on Ramsey, who wants to carry the ball forward and wants to go forward with the ball and wants to play as more of an 8. And yes, you could say that, he was brought on to try and win the game. Like, we're at the stage here whereby we have no right to go and win any game. Like, we as fans, like, I think we would have all come away. These last two games that we've played, against Crystal Palace and against West Ham, I think we would have been all okay with a draw. Yeah, we would have been annoyed and we would still been questioning Steven Gerrard's tactics. But the way that we've lost by being cavalier and by being silly about wanting to keep continuously pile on an attack I thought it was just really silly. And then he brings on Archer with in injury time. There you go, kid. Bail me out. There you go, kid. Bail me out of it. Why don't you? Oh, and by the way, we're going to cross the ball at you all the time. We're just going to cross that ball in because we're really good at crossing the ball. We're really good at crossing the ball to Kurt Zouma. Really good at crossing the ball to Kurt Zouma. Like, that's what the frustrating thing is. And, I've sat here and I've had a kind of crisis of Jesus, it can't all be Gerrard. It can't all be. The players have to take blame. And I do think the players have to take blame as well. But we're doing the same thing week in, week out. Rinse, repeat. Yeah, he might start a Bailey. He might start the 210s. He might bring in a Douglas Luiz today. And Douglas Luiz worked. Give him credit for that. It worked. I thought Douglas Luiz did work today. But the substitution to make was bring off John McGinn. It was bring off John McGinn and bring on... Like, I couldn't have cared less if he brought off John McGinn and brought on Nakamba or Young Tim. But the wrong substitution to make today was take off Douglas Luiz and bring on Jacob Ramsey. He could have even brought on Ramsey for McGinn. That would have actually been fine for me. But McGinn for me was the substitution, and he made the wrong one. And that's his job, is to get the substitutions right in game, and he just doesn't do it. Bringing Archer on for the last 3 minutes. I know it's only a small thing, and look, it was basically rolling the dice at that stage. But my mother mercy, when you're literally bombarding balls into the box and on top of Zuma and on top of Kerr and Rice and Soucek. And two proven strikers who've played at international level like Danny Ings and has Danny Ings got an English cap? But Ollie Watkins and Ings, and they can't get their head in the ball. And Cameron Archer, for all the great talent that he is and for what he has and what he can be, you're like, come on, man, play to the team's strengths. Play to the team's strengths. If you're going to start Coutinho, play to his strengths. That picture that was going around on social media at halftime about how we literally had everybody over. It was like there was like a pool table would have fallen in it, and all the balls have fallen over to one side. Like, that's not right. And if you can't see that in game, or if that's what you want to play, tell me why you want to play that. Come out, be honest for give us some sort of context behind it. And you'll never get that. And I know you won't. And he doesn't have to say anything to me. Sure, who the fuck am I? But basically, if you've got Philippe Coutinho on your team, you want to give him space so he can get the ball. You certainly don't want him to get the ball when John McGinn is standing right up his arse. And you've got the other two strikers then standing on top of each other and on top of him as well. Like, there has to be some sort of joined up thinking here. And it's just not happening. It's the same thing we're talking about since probably March or April of last year, probably even further back, February maybe of last year. We've 3 wins in 13 games? It's just not good enough. We've 3 wins in 15 games, I think it is, because I think we got a total of 9. 3 wins from 15, I think, because it was whatever the points total was out of 45. I think that's what it is. And by any measure, metric, or assessment, that isn't good enough. That isn't good enough. But what we're doing is we're staring into the abyss, or we're staring we're staring like out over a cliff, and we're saying, you know what? Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again tomorrow. Let's do it again next week. And even when he got it right, as I've said before, and I'm making no sense, and I'm a bit incoherent with regards to this, but even when he got it right with Douglas Luiz, his first opportunity to undo it again, he undoes it. We sat here beforehand and we spoke about Konza and Chambers, what was going to happen. Were they going to get bullied? I thought they played pretty well in the main. I just have no idea what Ezri Konza does when he throws himself at players. Deflections can happen, but Mike, like, he's just beginning to annoy me. Like, there's just things he does that are unnatural, and you don't teach any defender, and he has no need to do them. Like, if he doesn't even get in the way of that shot, it probably comfortably goes into Emi Martinez's hands. And I know we can't blame him for deflection. Don't get me wrong. I'm not piling in on him. He's grating on me. He's grating on me. He can't defend corners. He can't do things like that. And it's really beginning to annoy me. He hasn't been able to, should I say, since the start of the season. Once again, that comes back to the dugout. That comes back to the dugout as well. So, I don't know. I said I wasn't going to go all in it. I probably haven't gone in enough for some people's likings. I want to really scream, but it's not going to make any difference. But we've got players who are underperforming. We've got a management team, because we can't just, like, they're a management team in the dugout that don't affect the game during the game. They don't affect it. And unfortunately, it's probably okay to say as well that we have, we've got players who are supposed to be big players on the field that are underperforming as well. There was a point in case. The ball was played through by Coutinho, I think it was. It was a through ball, and Ings broke the offside trap. And he kind of gave up on the ball because he thought the goalkeeper was going to get it. Now, he nearly got to the ball. And I thought he should have got on the end of that. And they go up and they score, I think, almost directly after that. I think they scored. But he needs to get on the end of that. And like, he's not doing it for me either. Like, I'm kind of gone past the situation here now whereby I would have before been at times thought, okay, you got to maybe let a fella play himself into form. We're gone past that at the moment, but we just don't have anybody else to bring in for him. Yes, people are talking about Archer. Maybe you do. Maybe you start Archer. But what happens if Archer doesn't work at 20 years of age? There's just, it's just like, I can't see the solutions. We can sack the coach, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. But like, it's just, does anyone else get this kind of feeling? There's a feeling of almost like I'm not going to say helplessness, but it's just a feeling of where I said before the game today. Actually, this is what I'll come back to. I said before the game today, whereby we're hoping players play well. We're a professional football outfit. We're a professional Premier League football club. We apparently had aspirations of finishing in the top half of the league this season, finishing seventh even. You know, and we've got players in the field that can't dissect that things aren't going right with a game plan and change it on the field. Yeah, if you change it on the field and you go into the dressing room and he gives out to you because you've won 1-0, it's not going to happen. So what you need to like for me, it's just yes, if you want to play to that game plan, that's fine. But at some stage, you have to realize in the field where this game plan isn't working. Yeah, look, it's a bit of despair. I think today it's still fresh. The defeat is still fresh. I'm very tired. I'm tired of the last three. I'm tired of this season already. Since the Mings comments on towards the Everton game, whereby we nearly threw that away with mental lapses, own goal, whatever. Matty Cash losing his mind down that wing and getting bundled out of it. Then Crystal Palace was pretty toxic. You know, we just didn't play. Today has been pretty. Today I thought, like for want of a better word, I thought the play at times today was passable, as in it looked like we had a coherent plan and we knew what we were doing, but we get stitched up by a fluke of a goal, you know, and that's hard to take. But it's the culmination of everything that has me feeling tired about it, and I don't know where we go. I don't know where we go, lads. I'm going to be really honest. I don't know where we go. I'm going to watch that game again and see if there's anything from a tactical standpoint. I'm absolutely positive that I'm going to see some really good things Douglas Luiz did. I would imagine that's what I'm going to see, because from my first watching of it, I thought he had a good game. But we're literally doing the same thing. It's the definition of insanity, guys. We're essentially playing the exact same tactic week in, week out, and expecting something different, a different outcome from it. And teams just have us sussed. They just have us sussed. Now, West Ham didn't actually have us sussed today, so I think that's unfair, because I thought West Ham were poor. West Ham looked like a team who hadn't scored and were bottom of the table. They looked like they were a bit incoherent themselves today. But they come away with it from 3 points, and we don't. They scored our first goal of the season. We don't score. Like isn't it textbook Aston Villa that we score a goal and it was a corner that went out of play? Like, I'm going to go so far as to say it could be 10 years since I've seen someone take a corner that went out of play and came back in again. Like, and the first attempt, Coutinho heads it off the post, and it comes back to Konza. Like, think of that mad sequence of events. Think of that absolute insane sequence of events. So we take a corner that debatably went out of play. I don't know, but there was no VAR. The linesman called it, whatever. But debatably went out of play. First of all, that very rarely happens to my knowledge. Now, someone's probably going to prove me wrong. I'm open to questioning that for sure. Then Coutinho, from a yard and a half out, ends up hitting the post with a header that rebounds back to Ezri Konsa, who sticks it in the back of the net. And he doesn't even celebrate because he isn't even sure if he's allowed. And then we find out that the ball may have gone out of play, but the linesman flagged for it, so it's going to be disallowed. Peak Aston Villa, that sequence of events was. And then they go up and then they get all the look in the world with a deflected shot. Albeit we were playing absolutely turgid at that point, I think, because all we had was crosses. I don't know. I don't know where we go from this game, because up until about the 70th minute, I thought that we had some green shoots of recovery, and we may very well do. I think he absolutely 100% has to persist with that, with Douglas Luiz, Boubacar Kamara, and look, he's going to call it McGinn. McGinn is going to be in there, but I think based on form, he is somebody who should be worried about his position within the team, and maybe he needs some time out of the spotlight. I don't know. But I'm sure I'm going to look. I haven't even looked at any statistics. It's just been, as I say, I'm just tired of it. I was tired from watching the game today. But we'll bounce back and we'll do a bit in it tomorrow again. But yeah, as I say, I think that midfield needs to be. I think Kamara and Luis have to start in that midfield. And I don't care if you put Mavis Nakamba in there, you put Tim Eric Bunham in there as well, and you just lock it down with 3 kind of more defensive minded midfielders. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. As I've said time in, time out, if you're going to play Philippe Coutinho, give him space. If you're going to have people like Coutinho, if you're going to have people like Watkins, people like Bailey on your team, let your creative attacking players create the width. Do not I'm broken record. I'm not even going to go into it because I'd say I've said it about 40 times since the start of the season. Guys, this is going to be a shorter one. We're up in about 15 minutes. I'm gonna just very, very quickly go. Yeah, by the way, actually, two real positive points, I think, from today. I think it's okay to call out positive points because there were some. Boubacar Kamara is a really good footballer. Really good footballer. I think we might have unanimity in the comments about that. We might have unanimity in the comments about that. Boubacar Kamara is a really good footballer. And secondly, as I say, Kamara and Luis, I liked the tandem that they played at times today. I like the fact that the both of them went into the low block and became a double pivot at times, specifically in defence. I did like that. It's something I've been calling out for, and I'm okay with trying that. I'm okay with building upon that. However they so wish to do. I'm going to be on red alert over the next few days, obviously for transfers and things like that. I think the club need to be busy. I think they do. Our defensive frailties today, our defensive frailties today, not having a centre half on the bench. We're like, whether we like who we're going to bring in, I think we're going to bring in somebody in the centre half. They have to revisit the midfield position. They really, really have to revisit that midfield position and bring in a number 8. They just have to. It's as pivotal as anything else. And as I've been saying since the end of last season, if you can get a striker, a different type of striker to the Ings, Watkins, Archers of this world, and maybe a taller guy, maybe a route one type guy, maybe a guy that can get onto a cross, since we love crossing the ball so much. If you can pick up one of those, gazump Wolves for that big, tall lad playing for Stuttgart, the Austrian guy playing for Stuttgart, whose name I will not be able to pronounce. Something along those lines. I don't know where we go with regards to that. I am, as I say, I'm just too tired to be able to like, I've done scouting series. Like, who knows who the hell will come in through the door. And you know what I said in the team sheet tantrum, that, you know, maybe a Craig Dawson would be a very underwhelming signing. I want pros to come in the door. I want people to come in the door whose egos have been well checked outside the door and going to come in and are hard as nails and are going to work hard. If that turns out to be Jan Bednarek, it turns out to be Jan Bednarek. If it turns out to be Craig Dawson, it turns out to be Craig Dawson. I'm at the stage where we're like dog fighters. If they come in through the door, I'm like, and we see it on the field, I want the shiny, sparkly names. I don't spend about 20 hours a week watching fucking, well, maybe not 20 hours. I don't spend maybe about 10 hours a week watching clips of Austrian football and stuff like that, because I do it because I like it. And obviously everybody wants the sparkly names, but I think we're in a predicament at the moment whereby the mental fortitude of this team is as low as it's been the 32 years I've followed Aston Villa, or 31 years or whatever it is. And I'm okay with whoever comes in as long as they show that, because I think we're missing a bit of leadership in the dugout and we're missing a bit of leadership in the field as well. Difficult to purchase, specifically in the last few days of the window, and it will look like there's going to be a lot of envious looks, but there's not going to be Alexander Isak coming in through the doors. There's not going to be Lucas Paqueta coming in the doors. There's not going to be you name all these big shiny bright lights. There's not going to be an Anthony from Ajax. Other teams are going to buy these big shiny names. I would absolutely love to be in the market for them, but they take time, and I don't think we're going to see one of those come in, and that's a failing in itself. And I'm not exactly thrilled about it, but I think we're at such an ebb at the moment. We're in an ebb of where we need almost like a Roy Kent type from Ted Lasso to come in and just shake up that dressing room and make sure that dressing room is professional. Because, as I say, we stand a lot of times talking about managerial tactics and stuff like that, but I think that even if it's only 15% of the blame, even if it's only 10% of the blame goes to the players, they missed an assignment they were supposed to do. They weren't in position. They'd gone too far forward. They lost their man at the back post. Whatever it is, even if it's only 5% of the blame for players, that's still 5% too much. professionalism all around. And I know that we're a professional club. I know we are a professional club, and we can say it in the heat of the moment. But we see who we'll bring in over the next few days. Right, a couple of comments because I'm talking absolute chocolate at the moment. Where are we going? I'm just going to pick some at random. Paul Miller says, lose next 2 games, and he's our worst manager since 1874. I saw that from Villa Analytics as well. Statistically, he'll have the highest loss percentage of any team, of any manager since our inception. Yeah, absolutely. Ashley Hall says, I googled this today. Our squad average height is our squad average height by who scored, or you have it here, is 5'11". That's including 3 very tall goalkeepers. Mings load out. Yeah, our starting 11 squad height, and I only know it in centimeters. I think it's 189.5 centimeters, and it was actually 2.5 centimeters higher than the starting 11 for West Ham today. But I understand what you mean with regards to our squad. Our squad is on the small side. Yeah, for sure. And look, I don't think Courtney House stops anything that happened today either. I thought our defensive partnership were okay. I thought they were okay. I just don't know why he sticks out a leg when he's trying to defend the ball like that. Anyway, that's getting into the weeds in it. Where else have we? This one, Peter D. That isn't my father by any chance, is it? That isn't my dad by any chance. Anyway, Peter D. Moyes made the change at half-time and tactically outwitted Gerrard. And by the way, if you are my dad, I really apologise. I forgot to send you a link for the game, and you just have to remember that now. You text me for it today. Oops. Apologies for that, Dad. But Moyes made the change at half-time and tactically outwitted Gerrard. We were getting dominated in the first 15 of the second half, and Gerrard did absolutely nothing. Yeah, I think, this whole rigidity of making substitutions on 60 minutes regardless, to me, that's a sign of pre-prescribed substitutions. And you need to be able to ebb and flow towards the game, the way the game is going. You need to be able to do that. Guys, we've over 400 people watching me absolutely talk nonsense at times here today, so I really appreciate that. Could you please give us a thumbs up if you're so inclined? It costs you nothing, and it helps us out with the algorithm. But thanks so much, everybody. Let's get to more of your comments there. We do have and I've got a child here as well, who's may mean I have to go. Oh no, she's gone back to sleep. Bring Potter from a very steady, smooth Brighton team that occasionally get results against the top 10 won't mean he'll walk the path at Villa. Yeah, I don't think Graham Potter would have any interest. I think he might even be a Villa lad. I think he might be a Villa supporter, but I don't think he has any interest in taking over this team just at this moment in time. I just don't. I just think that he'll, the way Brighton are going at the moment. I think it would take a lot to get him away. No, he could. Jesus, he could. Don't get me wrong. Villa should be a great draw for him. But yeah, we'll see. I'm going to kind of stay away from talking about who our next manager should be at the moment, because this is a post-match piece. But I understand what you're saying there as well, AVFC. And thank you so much for your very, very kind donation, AVFC agent Jared. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Once again, always good man to be on the pod. Thank you very much. Where is it? This is one as well. The biggest worry is not losing 3 out of 4 games. It's who the teams you lost against. That's the worry. Not one of them are above 15th in the league. 100%. 100%. This was something that was labelled at Dean Smith in the year just before he was sacked, was that he was able to get the odd result, or we were getting results against the top 6. The Leicesters, who were top 6 at the time, Arsenal, whoever. But we were dropping points to Brighton. We were dropping points to Watford's and all those teams. And we weren't able to beat the teams below us. Now we don't have that structure and that rigidity that allows us to kind of play against those bigger teams, or to sit back and to kind of hunker down or bunker down for those teams. Because Smith was good at that. Give Smith all the, you can talk about Smith's substitutions or whatever you want. I was very pro Smith. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to rewrite history here. But Smith knew how to set up a team that was able to defend on its and protect the D in front of its goals. I think that's what we were able to do. That what we struggled with was very much invention going forward and breaking down teams. Now we're in the worst of both worlds, whereby we can't break down teams when we're going forward, and we just don't have, like, our fullbacks are so far up top that we don't have that ingenuity to be able to park the bus in front of our goals and maybe get a 0-0 draw away at whoever, or maybe hold Liverpool to the 89th minute and that kind of thing, before Sadio Mane kicks into action and scores 2 goals. That one is still raw in my mind. But that's a good point that you make there. We're still doing that, but we now have the worst of both worlds from that. And that is something that we need to bear in mind as well. Where else? Where else are we? I'm sorry, guys. There's tons of comments here. What I'll do is, because I'll be here reading these forever. I really appreciate every single person on the podcast. Thank you so much. I'm going to read through these comments and I will bring them up in the voicemail podcast we will do tomorrow. Obviously, if anything breaks tomorrow and if there's any breaking news, we will endeavor to jump on as close to when the news breaks as possible. I would imagine we're going to hear a plethora of links over the next few days. Agents are going to be firing things out left, right, and centre to try and link their players with Aston Villa, because we do need players in. That centre-back room needs another addition. Central midfield room needs another addition. Whether they do it or not is anyone's guess. And I think the striker room needs another addition. But that will probably be priority number 3, I'd say, for the board at the moment. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys, because I'm just conscious it's half past 7 as well, and I would love to get to all your comments. I really truly would. It just means I'd have to read them, and there's going to be dead silence without Paddy. That's the beauty of having Paddy here. Paddy could go off on one now and use no words other than swear words for the next 15 minutes, and it'd give me great time to go down and star all the wonderful comments that I wanted to show up. But without Paddy, without my wingman, I have to read the comments, and I look like a plum because I'm here and it's complete dead silence when I'm trying to do that. So I do apologize. I will read the comments. Thank you so much for popping them in. Thank you so much for watching the pod tonight. As I said, please give us a thumbs up. It's a tough one. You can tell by me. I want to get angry. I just don't have the energy to do it because I've seen this movie for the last 31 years with Aston Villa Football Club, and I really wish that there was a magic potion or magic pill that we could take to make this better. I can't see it at the moment, other than I just can't see him changing his tactics to the degree it would need to right this ship quickly and steadily. But thanks everybody so much, really appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow, definitely 1 podcast, maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on what breaks. But keep it real, keep safe, and remember, lads, even though we're here and we've been giving out for the last 27 minutes and 30 seconds, always go to bed, and for last thing you say before you go to bed at night is always up the Villa, because they'll always be here. Thanks, lads. See you later.